competing against Ethiopia. On value for money, we're competing against Colombia. And one of the big things we've been driving is, which you're probably way ahead of us on, is lean manufacturing and lean techniques. And so we have this amazing training and capability program with your local universities in Nairobi, where we're systematically every month sending our people to operational excellence and Kaizen training, which helps us continually remove waste and excess cost out of our system, which is working. And that's what's enabled us to moving up the value chain on manufacturing. And then the third formula is really environmental footprint, which you said. You guys are in a brilliant position in Kenya on environmental footprint. Now, the interest in our markets on carbon, for example, ebbs and waves with the degree of severity of geopolitical shocks. But we know that this is coming, and Kenya has such a great case to play. So again, it's about resilience, it's about value for money, and it's about environmental footprint. And that's what's making us ever more competitive against other growing regions like Colombia, the Netherlands, and Ethiopia.
And are you, do you, for your business as well, I asked the same question I asked Jane, which is, you know, how are you seeing any opportunities to integrate on the continent in terms of, you know, for the future of your business? Maybe not today.
So we're equally large in Ethiopia. So we don't sell into, for example,
right.
And we don't, so for Kenya, we don't source from other countries either. So we have a very big operation in Ethiopia as well. So they're kind of, they run separate, but they share ideas.
Okay. Excellent.
And actually, they raise the bar for each other. So there's a healthy dose of competition, which I think is really good. So that's what's fueling a lot of the innovation we're seeing.
Okay. Excellent. And I wanted to come back to you, James, on that point about how does a business like yours move up the value chain, or, you know, what value addition you have for clients as you grow, and, you know, how does that help the sort of the Kenyan, you know, creating job creation? How does this work?
Well, thank you. Let me just frame the industry first. We're talking about an industry that's over $500 billion a year in global business services. This industry, you could say, is about half captive, which is shared services, corporations doing it for themselves and then sending it to various parties, and then the other half is made up by third parties, providers. We happen to do both. This business over 30 years has gone from labor arbitrage to how big can we get with scale, to now capability. And this is why I'm very, very excited about Kenya, because it happens to be at the crossroads of where technology and capability can now balance. Yes, we all need to bring more jobs for Kenya, but it's also about the value per job. We need to push that value per job higher. Yes, we need to continue to grow the base, but that value per job can be turbocharged with the technology capability of training new staff up at literally, I've seen 80–90% faster than they've done in historic terms by leveraging technology. So why us and Kenya? We operate in 25 countries, so we basically have 25 choices. Kenya happens to be at the cusp of what we believe is the opportunity of people reviewing their sites around the world, and resiliency. Sorry, you stole my theme. Resiliency. We're living in a time that adaptability, resiliency, durability, we're in a time where that value proposition wasn't priced properly in the past. And all of a sudden, we're in this process of repricing business models, because guess what? Where you get your power matters. Kenya is, as you highlighted, is outstandingly positioned, not just for sustainability, but it's the resiliency factor. And any businessman or businesswoman or shareholder is going to be looking at, how do you build a long-term partnership? That resiliency Kenya has built absolutely provides that framework, that base that people want to build their house on. And I will tell you that we started a little early. We started this vision 13 years ago. I would like to say we were probably a little early, but it's better to be early, and we have seen the growth, and the clients are now starting to see the growth. and sharing that it's not just the African continent is expanding, but Kenya is really the diamond that is shining, and we all need to, thank you. I think we all need to carry that flag. And just a little bit of history. 30 years ago, the Philippines was doing about $200 million a year. 30 years later, they're doing about $34 billion in turnover in business processes. So the game afoot is to be had. And unfortunately, while we started there, they're entering a energy crisis because of the current situation. So one person's crisis is another person's opportunity. And we need to really be looking at how to position Kenya as that safe haven for how do we either start off as a second site and then establish that center for other corporations to put their shared services here. One last point I would like to make is developing second city strategy, being able to take not just what we do here in Nairobi, but intentionally have the government push this second city site out so that we can effectively not just bring impactful jobs, but bring this digital value proposition to the far reaches of the country. And because of the digital backbone, the M-Pesa that's mentioned, the platform is here. We just need to maybe connect on where the business side is going, the industry, and government. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a fantastic point about second cities. I mean, a real issue across many African countries. And Shimao, let me also just tack on to that. And what do you think are the, if you like, the priorities this government should have, or any Kenyan government at that, should have in terms of improving the business climate, right? Just we often have these rankings. Lots of people put a lot of value in the World Bank's rankings, but what's the reality on the ground is, rankings are nice, but what are the things that really when you look at the environment, what do you think they should be prioritized?
First, let me say first, I think Kenya actually has a quite decent and quite comprehensive policy and legal framework for business. In fact, you have lots and lots of lawyers. What do investors hate?
Certainty.
They hate inconsistency. They hate uncertainty. For me, I think in terms of what governments can do better, including the Kenyan government can do better, is to consistently implement those policies. So that's number one. I think it's a consistency of implementation, which is absolutely critical. You can have wonderful policies and good regulatory framework. If you don't implement them, it's not going to be very helpful. Or if you implement them arbitrarily, it's going to be extremely harmful. So I think that's really number one. Second, perhaps, is really thinking about the type of policies that can help you to actually reduce the cost of doing business. The inputs we talked about, right? I talked about Kenya's advantage in renewable energy. But the cost of your energy is actually relatively high compared with other countries. So I think having policies in place that can help to reduce the cost of energy, having policies in place that can help you to reduce the cost of transport, the logistics side, and policy can help you to promote competition. Now, as an individual business, many of us, we don't like competition. We all want it to be monopolies. But as an economy, we actually wanted to have a competitive environment so that it can continuously drive costs down. So I think it's that type of policies that's going to be really important. We've talked about the many advantages Kenya has. But competition is not just with yourself. Competition is with other countries. Other countries are also constantly improving their business environment, constantly reducing their cost. So I think that what that also means is that you need to continuously reform your systems, making sure you are always at the forefront in terms of policies so that your businesses, your investors can get the lowest cost for energy, the lowest cost for transport. At the same time, they're quality and reliable, right? And they can get skilled labor force also at relatively low cost.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm not sure how we're doing for time because I have, should wrap it up? Okay, I've got the universal wrap it up sign. This has been an excellent conversation, and I have not just enjoyed learning from you, but I just wanted the top themes, the words I heard most often. Number one was resilience, really the resilience of Kenya in terms of creating an environment in which businesses and investors and capital can come to and grow and generate profits. I really like this theme about consistency of policy, not just in having great ideas, but also consistently implementing them. So one person doesn't get one deal and another person gets another deal. You know, the level playing field is just incredibly important for investors. And third, and I think was the most important, was the Kenyan people. You know, everyone on this panel talks about this. It's key to how this country develops and grows. And, you know, frankly, it's key to the way all African countries will grow. But it's important while we're in Kenya, we you know, sort of pay homage to that, because I don't think we do that enough about our respective countries. And I think that it's a really important point. But please join me in thanking this excellent panel. Thank you for your time.
All right, another warm round of applause to the panel. Fantastic. Your Excellencies, with your permission at this point, allow me to now invite the Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Investment, Trade and Industry, Honorable Lee Kinyanjui, to make some brief remarks. And as he does that, he'll also take that opportunity to recognize our sponsors. A warm clap for Cabinet Secretary, Honorable Lee Kinyanjui. Karibu.
Thank you. Your Excellency, President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, our chief guest today, His Excellency Daniel Francisco Chapo, the President of the Republic of Mozambique, our Prime Cabinet Secretary, ambassadors and high commissioners here present, distinguished investors from around the world, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My responsibility, part of what I really would have wanted to say, has actually been said by the panel that was here, and it was said in a very powerful way. So I request you to join me in thanking them for that testimony. And I think the best testimony is one that comes from the business people and not the government. So I really want to thank them for the journey that we've walked together. Your Excellency, I take this opportunity to welcome all our delegates here in Kenya and also to the Kenya International Investment Conference, this being the fourth one since we started holding these investment conferences. We are delighted to welcome our delegates and participants to the great city of Nairobi. For those visiting for the first time, enjoy our cool weather and take time to explore the many attractions that define Nairobi. This is probably the closest we get to winter, so around the year you can have your stay in Nairobi like this, so really we welcome you. Situated on the equator, Kenya enjoys temperate weather all the year round, making it suitable for agribusiness, green energy, and tourism. In literally every sector of the economy, opportunities abound waiting to be explored. From manufacturing to agribusiness and digital economy, the country is a cocktail of opportunities awaiting investors such as yourselves. We look forward for partners who can be able to work with us, and at this time, allow me to say that for the last 3 years, we have agreed that we want to operate outside the box. And that means whenever there is a problem and you need a solution, we don't want to be defined by tradition. So for investors who are here, whenever there is a problem and you have a solution, the government is waiting to listen to you. And therefore, to say we have discarded the box, and all you want is, where do we meet? You need your investment return, you need stability, we want our young people employed, and you want our forex in the country. That's our meeting point, that's equilibrium, and we'll be able to create a solution necessary for you. Under the wise and visionary leadership of the President, we have embraced adaptation and innovation. And therefore, meaning with every changing situation, we sit with the business community to align on the challenges that are there, and even when our laws are an impediment, we have what we call business amendment laws, such as what we passed last year, and even this year will be aligning. I want to take this opportunity also to thank investors who are already in Kenya, because there are many who want to come, but many others who are already here. Some of them have also sponsored this event, including KCB, our biggest bank, led by Paul Ruto. Thank you. It's our biggest bank, but also within the region in East Africa, and I'm also hoping we'll go beyond East Africa, is our leading bank. So again, when it comes to financial solutions, together with M-Pesa and all the others that are there, we are all set. We also have Arise, which have also partly sponsored this event, and we also want to thank you for your participation and sponsorship. Your Excellency, allow me also at this time to say that we have also come with our cabinet secretaries and also our principal secretaries, because the real business conversation will happen after the formal opening. So we will have very serious conversations around ICT. And to that effect, we have the Minister for ICT, William Kabogo, who will also be leading the session in the breakaway. Mining, which is also our big sleeping giant, and where we also have a lot of hope, and I'm glad that a good number of the investors who've come here want to know what you're doing in the mining sector. We have our Minister, Ali Hassan Joho, will also be leading that session. You have also heard that we have a very vibrant young population, and your typical taxi driver or will speak good English, is most likely a post-secondary school education, and the guy leading that section is our Minister for Public Service, Cabinet Secretary Ruto, who will also be here to explore some of those issues. So with those few comments, Your Excellency, I also want to take this opportunity to welcome, just for 1 minute, Paul Ruto, to say just one word before we can be able to go to the next session. Welcome, Paul. Thank you.
Thank you. Your Excellency, I will stand on all protocols already established. 3 things, Your Excellency. And the first one might come out as cheeky, but I think, Your Excellency, you'll forgive me. We've seen the transformation from Kenya Investment Authority to invest in Kenya as public sector. It's not just that video. Your Excellency, I know you are the front person on investment in Kenya, but I think Invest in Kenya team with the ministry has done an amazing job. I can confirm, Your Excellency, that we actually, it used to be one-stop shop, but we are seeing one shop. And why do I say one-stop shop? It just used to end there, but we can see deals as bankers, and we are converting deals, Your Excellency. So thank you so much for the transformation that has happened in that unit. Secondly, Your Excellency, I don't need to talk about KCB 130 years in this country. At the core of every development, we are catalysts. And Your Excellency, recently with AfriExim, we signed the financing for Vipingo. You had one of the panelists talking about the second city. Vipingo is actually reality to getting the second city conversations, Your Excellency. So $300 million with AfriExim to ensure that Arise project kicks off. Finally, Your Excellency, from a banking perspective, we've seen interest rates coming down, but we've also seen that we are taking a bet on this country, and it's paying back, Your Excellency. So I'm one of those people from a financial institution that will say, when you invest in Kenya, it pays. But I'm also challenging private sector and government entities to find ways to work together to accelerate that transformation. I submit, Your Excellency. Thank you.
Your Excellencies, allow me to invite the last speaker, who is also our sponsor for Rise Africa, Nicole Gandhi. Kindly, just for a word. Thank you.
Your Excellency, kindly allow me to begin with the already established protocols. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I stand here on behalf of the Arise Group, which is a Pan-African developer of special economic zones, logistics parks, and ports across the African continent. Over the last 15 years, we've been able to develop these projects across 18 locations in 18 countries in Africa. But I want to specifically mention that our investment in Kenya is going to be by far the largest investment that we have done so far in the history of our company. So thank you very much, Your Excellency, for the opportunity. We are developing 3 special economic zones to begin with, and 4,500 acres of industrial land that is going to be provided for enabling manufacturing and developing the logistics and trade framework within the East African continent. And we stand proud that over the next 3 years, we will be investing as a company over $3 billion in Kenya, only to enable the growth for the economic value that we are going to unlock as a business. What I see today is a theme of resilience. And I come here from Dubai in UAE, which is probably facing one of its most challenging situations. But it is the resilience and the resolve to provide a safe, secure, stable solution that is keeping investors still stay put in that country. So I would certainly provide the same resilience for all of us to come together to overcome the challenges that we have. And today in the panel, people spoke about what investors are looking for. So beyond economic stability and beyond the political or the geo advantage of what Kenya offers, Your Excellency, and with your permission, I would like to address to all the government officials in the room. Capital is looking for stable, and especially for manufacturing companies, they are looking for enablers in the form of power tariffs. They're looking for enablers in the form of corporate structures in terms of taxation. They're looking for policy framework that enables the unlockment of key sectors and also import subsidies where there is unlocking of great potential to develop over 100,000 and millions of jobs. We, as an endeavor with Arise, are looking to create over 500,000 jobs in the next 5 years. And with Your Excellency's leadership and guidance, we hope that coming together in partnership with Ken Invest and with many other companies here, we will be able to achieve what we are set out for. Once again, thank you very much for patiently listening. And Your Excellency, thank you very much for your leadership. And Ken Invest, thank you for having me here. Thank you.
Your Excellencies, allow me in closing to recognize that, as you have heard, we are trying to create a one-stop shop. But that one-stop shop is mobile today. So we've come here with literally the whole government. We have the PS for diaspora, Rosalind Jogu, and I'm saying this because after this session, these are some of the people who may be critical in whatever decisions you want to make. So Rosalind, kindly, she's here. We also have Harry Kimtai for mining, PS Abubakar Hassan for investment, Juma Mkwana for industry, and PS Abdi Razak for research. We also have energy, Alex Washira, and we also have Muthoni for health, and Betsy Jagi. So I think the whole government is not just a one-stop, it's also a mobile one-stop, and we are here today. So I want to thank you all. And lastly also, we have governors, because our country also have 47 counties. And this is where the last mile is in connection to investment. And I want to salute the county governor of Embu here, Cecily Mbarire. Thank you. So for investors interested in that area, kindly you're welcome. And also from Uasin Gishu, B. Jonathan. So thank you very much. So we are hosting this together with the county governments, and also we invite you to have that interaction. With those few comments, it is now my great honor and pleasure to invite our Prime Cabinet Secretary, His Excellency Musalia Mudavadi. Kindly let's welcome him with a clap.
Your Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto, President and Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Forces of the Republic of Kenya, Your Excellency Daniel Francisco Chapo, President of the Republic of Mozambique, Ambassador Maria Manuela dos Santos Lucas, Minister for Foreign Affairs and Cooperation of the Republic of Mozambique, Cabinet Secretaries, Secretary General of COMESA, Madame Kapwepe, Your Excellencies, Ambassadors and High Commissioners, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great honor to address you at the 4th edition of the Kenya International Investment Conference, KICO 2026, a forum that continues to position Kenya as a premier investment hub. In line with the theme of the conference, unlocking investment opportunities to drive Kenya's transformation, our missions across the globe continue to showcase Kenya's attractiveness as the preferred investment destination. We invite investors and business community to engage our missions abroad to access timely and comprehensive investment information. And Your Excellency, we are riding on this conference. We have a follow-up event of you addressing and interacting with our ambassadors across the world. And we are riding on this event, so they are also in here, Kenyan ambassadors who have joined from their stations. Wherever you are, you can just wave. Thank you. This is a very strong showing. Your Excellency, we are gathered at a particularly profound moment in global affairs when the Middle East crisis continues to adversely impact global and regional economic outlook as logistics disruptions and expected global oil shortages become a reality. This calls for proactive strategies such as today's conference, as well as accelerated intra-Africa partnership, including African Continental Free Trade Area, so as to ease stress from external and domestic shocks. In this regard, as a member of the East African Community and standing among the first countries to ratify the African Continental Free Trade Agreement in May 2018, Kenya continues to champion deeper regional economic and investment cooperation. And Mr. President, nobody needs to remind us that you are the champion on behalf of the continent for the African Continental Free Trade Area promotion. Notably, the strategic, innovative, and investment solutions will contribute to inclusive growth and social prosperity for our people, enabling us to realize the government's bottom-up economic transformation agenda priorities. Finally, I commend the conference organizers for creating a platform for all stakeholders partners and participants to deliberate on how to stimulate investments in Kenya, thus highlighting our country's contribution to regional and Africa's shared prosperity. It is now my distinct honor to invite His Excellency, the President, to deliver his address. Ladies and gentlemen, can we be upstanding for the President of the Republic of Kenya?
Thank you very much. Please take your seats. Thank you very much. Your Excellency, my brother Daniel Francisco Chapo, the President of Mozambique, let me, on behalf of the people and government of Kenya, welcome you to Kenya, and in a very special way, thank you for honoring my invitation for you to participate in this very important investment forum. Distinguished investors, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you all to the home of human origins and, and the origin of wonder. Wherever you come from anywhere in the world, you do not visit Kenya. You simply come home. So welcome home, karibuni nyumbani. We have gathered here this morning for the 4th edition of the Kenya International Investment Conference 2026, a platform designed not only to unlock and drive Kenya's transformation, but also to advance the progress of our region and the broader African continent. We meet at a moment of great consequence, defined by profound disruptions and growing uncertainty, from shifting geopolitical alignments to economic volatility and latest developments in the Middle East. The global landscape is becoming ever more complex and unpredictable. As we navigate these evolving contexts, our collective responsibility is to ensure that our economies remain resilient, adaptable, and capable of withstanding global shocks. That is precisely what we have worked to achieve in Kenya over the past 3 years. At a time of global uncertainty, Kenya offers something increasingly rare: stability, predictability, openness, and world-class opportunities underpinned by both macro and microeconomic fundamentals. Despite global headwinds, foreign direct investment inflows in 2025 grew by over 15%, exceeding for the first time the US dollars $2 billion mark. Kenya was also recently upgraded by the Standard & Poor's from B- to B, a clear signal of strengthening macroeconomic fundamentals and growing investor confidence. Inflation has averaged 4.4% over an extended period, having come down from 9.6% 3 years ago. Our exchange rate has remained stable at 129 shillings to a dollar over the past 2 years. Meanwhile, our foreign exchange reserves stand at a historic high of US dollars 14.6 billion, representing nearly 7 months of import cover. At the same time, our capital markets continue to exhibit strong performance, with Nairobi Securities Exchange ranking among the best performing stock markets in Africa. In 2025, for example, it emerged as the second best on the continent, delivering a remarkable 52% return in dollar terms. This performance is now driving an ambitious expansion agenda, with the NSE targeting 40 new listings by 2029. Earlier this month, the landmark Kenya Pipeline Company initial public offering raised US dollars 823 million. Our focus remains firmly on strengthening the domestic environment, and we are deepening reforms and executing policies that enhance competitiveness, streamline processes, and create a more enabling and investor-friendly environment. These reforms include zero-rating VAT on exported services, tax reforms that allow corporates to offset verified tax claims against future liabilities, and the removal of the 30% domestic equity requirement for ICT companies, thereby unlocking significant new investments into Kenya's rapidly expanding digital economy. Through our one-stop investment center, investors now access seamless, world-class facilitation services. By the end of this year, 2026, this platform will be fully digitized, enabling permits and licenses to be secured entirely online, reducing costs and improving efficiency for our investors. Ladies and gentlemen, with a population of about 55 million, Kenya is far more than a domestic market. We are the natural gateway to East and Central Africa, and through the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, a springboard into a US dollar 3.7 trillion continental market of 1.4 billion people. Regionally, Kenya anchors the East African Community Common Market of more than 330 million consumers and the COMESA market of 680 million consumers. And that is why you have the Secretary General of COMESA in this meeting. Just this week, we finalized negotiations with the government of China on a bilateral trade agreement that will open access to an additional market valued at about US dollars 19 trillion, further expanding opportunities for investors. Despite the clear and demonstrable progress registered, we remain committed to continuously improving, guided by the insights and concerns of investors, businesses, and all stakeholders, as was recorded by the CS for Trade. In direct response to investor feedback, Kenya is implementing a new package of cross-cutting policy actions designed to remove long-standing investment bottlenecks and significantly enhance the ease of doing business. We are strengthening tax administration by introducing VAT refund mechanisms for export-oriented firms and providing greater certainty in transfer pricing frameworks, thereby improving liquidity and predictability for our investors. I remember a very special case with my good sister who spoke from the flower industry here, when she did mention to me when we had an investment conference in London about the challenges they were facing, and that if we did realign with their request, they would enhance their investment in Kenya. And to their credit, when we did what they asked, when we did whatever they asked us to do, the CS Trade was in Naivasha to launch their expansion of almost 2 billion shillings. And so when my Minister for Trade says we are working with stakeholders, business, investors, as they make suggestions to us, we align with the requirements of the market. We're also improving energy competitiveness through ongoing tariff reforms and expanded power generation, ensuring more predictable and cost-effective electricity for energy-intensive industries. At the same time, we are streamlining industrial incentives by aligning our export processing zones and special economic zones into a more coherent, transparent, and investor-friendly framework. These reforms are being reinforced by broader regulatory improvements, including the fast-tracking of the Business Laws Amendment Bill 2026 and the introduction of the Invest Kenya Bill, which will reform our 2004 Investment Promotion and Facilitation Act to establish a unified, modern framework for investment facilitation, faster approvals, and enhance aftercare services. We are also strengthening international investment frameworks by accelerating double taxation avoidance agreements, modernizing bilateral investment treaties, and providing greater tax certainty and cross-border investor confidence. Distinguished investors, I thank you for your continued and demonstrated confidence in our economy. That confidence is already delivering real outcomes. And listening to the panelists who are here this morning, I was almost tempted to say that I have nothing useful to add. I think they said more than I will ever make in my statement on the situation in our country. And for those of you who read social media, I would encourage you to listen to the panelists more. I mean, these are real practitioners. These are people who are at the place where the rubber meets the road. And that is their experience. That is not to say that we've arrived. It's not. And that's why we will continue improving. We will continue doing what we must do. Allow me to highlight just a few. Last year, during my visit to London, we secured a commitment with the Flamingo Group, as I said earlier. And just last month, we launched their US $14 million expansion project in Naivasha. From the same engagement in London, both Bupa Health and Lloyds of London have since established operations in Kenya. Early this year, Mars Wrigley expanded its sugar-free gum operation within Kenya with a US $33 million investment in Athi River, while Coca-Cola scaled up its bottling manufacturing facility in Kisumu with a US $45 million investment. At the same time, we have secured a US $150 million investment from UAE's Aquilastar in electric and hybrid vehicle manufacturing in Nakuru County. We have many more such examples, and it is for this reason that today we are unveiling more than US $2.5 billion in 20 investment deals across agriculture, manufacturing, ICT, business process outsourcing, healthcare, energy, and real estate. We're not just talking about numbers. We're talking about real investments. In the space of agriculture alone, there is going to be signed off deals of projects that are on ground. Some of them halfway through. Just in agriculture alone, $1 billion. In rice, in sugarcane, in manufacturing. And these are investments from across the globe, from USA to China to India to UAE to Uganda, to Singapore. Yes, I said Singapore. And of course, to Kenya. We have a very interesting conversation in our country about Singapore. And one of the companies, Syntex from Singapore, is actually investing right here in Athi River to hire 2,000 Kenyans on apparels. So that is the extent, all the way to Australia and many other countries, demonstrating confidence in investing in Kenya. And that's why I tell the people of my great country, we need to believe in ourselves because others believe in us. The majority of these investments are already at advanced stages of implementation, with several already breaking ground. Collectively, they will create over 63,000 quality jobs for Kenyans. To further support investment decisions, the government has developed an investment project catalog, a comprehensive deal book that brings together Kenya's most promising and investment-ready opportunities, and which will be showcased at this conference. I think for a while, people did not know where to invest. What are the opportunities? In which space are these opportunities? So we have decided to put together all the investment-ready opportunities available in Kenya, sector by sector, with a detailed analysis of what you need to do to unlock that investment. We will give you a whole book today on the investment-ready opportunities in Kenya. You do not have to go and look any further. There will be other opportunities that may not be in that book, but the ones in that book are the ones that have already been prepared. Some of them visibility is done, some of them progress has been made, and we're not only thinking about those opportunities, we will also tell you in which places will you find the space to be able to undertake whatever investment you want to make. We have 9 special economic zones that have been constructed by the government of Kenya. We have 47 county aggregation and industrial parks, again, as investment opportunities. As was said by my friend from Arise, we are developing the Rare Fipingo Special Economic Zone with their support. We are developing the Dongo Kundu Special Economic Zone, again, the partnership between Arise, Kenya Commercial Bank, and others, and Afri-Exim Bank. And of course, we are developing our Naivasha facility, a total of 4,500 acres of what will be a special economic zone infrastructure that offers opportunity for investment spaces. Yet, there remains significant opportunity that calls for your partnership. As many of you will be aware, we have launched an ambitious national transformation agenda anchored on 3 critical pillars. First, we are investing heavily in infrastructure and connectivity by expanding roads, railways, airports, and seaports. Just last week, we did launch the extension of the standard gauge railway that will now find its way to Uganda and to DRC to improve on our logistics. You heard from the panelists here that business is looking for how to move things in a much more cost-effective manner. We know very well that we have invested significantly in the roads infrastructure, but we believe that what we have done is not sufficient. So we are increasing our investment in the roads sector. In the next 7 years, we want to double our paved road infrastructure in Kenya, including highways. Because we want to unlock the market, as we have said, in the East African community of 330 million people. We are extending the highway from Nairobi now into Nakuru, finally into Malaba, and connecting it to Uganda. We will shortly be advertising another highway from Mombasa to Nairobi, and another 2,800 kilometers of highway around Kenya. This is an investment that is going to cost us between $10 and $15 billion, and we are slowly but surely finding the innovative mechanism on how to deploy resources in that space. Secondly, over the next 5 years, between 5 and 10 years, we plan to build at least 50 mega dams to strengthen water security and significantly enhance agricultural productivity. If I mention to you the 4 investors that are investing in the agricultural sector, the $1 billion that we are going to sign up today, all those investors are going to invest in agriculture, but in irrigation. And so the construction of dams, storage of water, harvesting of water is going to play a significant part of our way forward. Luckily for the investors that will be signing off today, we already have developed infrastructure for them to use the water that we already have in the irrigation space that is there. But that will significantly increase our agricultural output, especially for export. And third, we are scaling up our energy capacity, tripling generation to at least 10,000 megawatts to power industrial growth and future demand. As was said here again by the panelists, the cost of energy is significant to making investment decisions and enhancing competitiveness. Just yesterday, I was in Siaya, where we want to generate at least 3,000 megawatts of energy using nuclear. And I was having a conversation with the community and leadership in that region, because our 10,000 megawatts will come from diverse sources, from nuclear, from solar, from hydro, from wind, and from geothermal. And we will be looking for partners, maybe in this forum, because our investment in that space is going to be another $10 billion. And we are already beginning to structure the mechanism for us to be able to have that investment undertaken. We estimate that delivering this transformation will require an investment of about Kenya shillings 5 trillion or $40 billion. Through the National Infrastructure Fund, we are mobilizing long-term capital and creating structured, bankable opportunities for private sector participants. And this is where you come in. We invite you to partner with us, to invest, to build, and to be part of Kenya's transformation in a truly win-win partnership. Finally, to all investors present here today, I want to say thank you. Thank you for your confidence. Thank you for your partnership. And thank you for choosing Kenya. I assure you that Kenya is ready and open for business. And I look forward to engaging with you together with my team from the different actors, from mining to industry to investment to agriculture and to all the other spaces. I was specifically touched by our friends from ADEC, an American firm, who has identified Kenya for what it is, that we have the best human capital you can find anywhere in the world. I say that with no doubt in my mind and without fear of any contradiction, that we have the best human capital you can find anywhere in the world. The testimony of the panel is here. They kept on referring back to the Kenyan people. The Kenyan people. And that is what it is. And so, it's not by default that the Kenyan people is central to the development of our country and to the investment climate that we have as our country. It's because we have consistently invested as a nation in our human capital. 30% of our budget every year goes to education, training at all levels. We've just increased in the last 3 years our education budget by $1.5 billion in the last 3 years. We've hired 100,000 teachers more into our classrooms, expanded learning spaces by 23,000 classrooms, and developed a new funding model to make sure that our colleges and universities have adequate resources to sharpen our human capital. And from a policy point, I want to assure you that the jewel of our investment, the Kenyan human capital, will continue to receive the Kenya government's attention and resources for us to make sure that we don't lose that competitive edge that comes with investing in our human capital. I think it has also been said by investors here that stability is critical to investors making decisions. Stability in policy, stability in every other field. And we will continue to work with investors to make sure that we are predictable, that we continue to manage the space responsibly. And because of the discipline that we have introduced into the financial space, we can now confidently tell investors they can repatriate any of their profits anytime, in whatever manner they want, because we have the resources. I can tell you confidently, we have the dollars, we have the resources to make sure that none of you get stuck with whatever you want to do in our country. And we are doing this for the long term and for the long haul. So to all of you, again, let me say thank you very much for choosing Kenya, and we look forward to working with you. God bless you. Thank you. Now it is that moment. Now it is that moment that I invite my good brother, our chief guest, the President of Mozambique, Daniel Chapo. Mr. President, please.
Good morning. Can you sit? You know that My official language is Portuguese. That's why I will do my speech in Portuguese, and we have translator here. And after it, in a few words, I'll explain it in English. Sua Excelência, Dr. William Samuel Ruto, Presidente da República do Quênia, meu irmão, my brother, senhores membros do governo das repúblicas do Quênia e de Moçambique, aqui presentes, distintos líderes de empresas e investidores, caros convidados, minhas senhoras e meus senhores. Em primeiro lugar, quero agradecer a Vossa Excelência, Senhor Presidente, Dr. William Samuel Ruto, meu irmão, e ao povo do Quênia, o governo da República do Quênia, pela calorosa recepção e tradicional hospitalidade que nos tem sido proporcionada desde a nossa chegada a este país irmão. E eu, em particular, quero agradecer por ter indicado um ministro que tem a minha altura, 2 metros de altura. Muito obrigado. Asante sana. Thank you so much. Merci beaucoup. Xexie. Arigato. Donc, asante sana. Temos enorme prazer de iniciar a nossa intervenção expressando em nome do povo e do governo da República de Moçambique, em meu nome pessoal, o nosso profundo apreço pelo honroso convite que nos foi dirigido por Sua Excelência Dr. William Ruto, Presidente da República do Quênia, meu irmão, para participar nesta Conferência Internacional de Investimento neste país irmão. Felicitamos o governo do Quênia pela organização deste importante fórum, que se afirma de forma crescente como uma das mais relevantes plataformas de mobilização de investimento do nosso continente e que nesta 4ª edição se realiza sob o lema Desbloqueando oportunidades de investimento para impulsionar a transformação do Quênia e, consequentemente, Senhor Presidente, meu irmão, do nosso continente, de África e do mundo. Que este lema capta com precisão a encruzilhada histórica em que o nosso continente se encontra. Durante décadas, a África foi definida pelo seu potencial. Eu tenho dito que a África é o continente do futuro, é o continente de recursos minerais, de potencialidades agrícolas, da juventude, que é o capital humano, é, sem margem de dúvidas, o continente do futuro. Hoje, o desafio do nosso tempo já não é identificar oportunidades, disseram aqui os nossos painelistas, são tantas, é desbloqueá-las. Por isso, o lema deste fórum, com decisões políticas firmes, como Vossa Excelência disse aqui, capital paciente e parcerias estratégicas à altura das prioridades africanas. E o que significa, na prática, desbloquear oportunidades de investimento? Significa 3 aspectos fundamentais. Primeiro, Excelência, como disse aqui, criar um ambiente de confiança entre nós, o setor público, governantes e o setor privado. Com paz, com estabilidade, previsibilidade e regras muito claras. Segundo, estruturar projetos viáveis, com qualidade técnica, escala e bancabilidade. Por isso, está de parabéns o primeiro painel. E terceiro, construir parcerias inteligentes que combinem capital, tecnologia e conhecimento local. Ao assumir esta agenda, o Quênia posiciona-se com legitimidade como um dos principais motores de inovação econômica em África, destacando-se nos setores de tecnologias de informação e comunicação, na agricultura, infraestruturas, economia digital, turismo, energias renováveis e na mobilidade elétrica. Por isso, quero desejar muitos parabéns, Quênia, muitos parabéns, meus irmãos. Minhas senhoras, meus senhores, o continente africano está a atravessar uma fase decisiva de sua história econômica, com uma população superior a 1,4 mil milhões de pessoas, das quais mais de 60% são jovens. Repito, mais de 60% são jovens. A África representa hoje o maior reservatório global do capital humano, como disse aqui Vossa Excelência, em franco crescimento. Com a implementação da área livre do comércio continental africana, estamos a construir o maior mercado integrado do mundo em número de países, com um PIB combinado superior a 3,4 trilhões de dólares. Há poucas décadas, Excelência, caros convidados, a África travava a luta pela sua libertação política. Hoje, o imperativo histórico é outro: convidar os nossos irmãos de todo o mundo, como está a acontecer neste momento, para o desenvolvimento do nosso continente. Este é o momento de romper definitivamente com o padrão de exportação de matérias-primas e afirmar a África como um continente de industrialização, como vimos aqui, inovação e de criação de valor acrescentado, sobretudo o emprego para a nossa juventude. O que está em causa neste fórum não é apenas a promoção de oportunidades de investimento, é a definição do papel da África na economia global. É este novo espaço econômico que cria condições para que a África avance nesta direção com o Quênia no coração. É neste contexto que Moçambique se apresenta aqui como parceiro estratégico nesta transformação continental entre os nossos países e o mundo, alinhando esta agenda com a nossa visão nacional de desenvolver Moçambique e de desenvolvimento estrutural sustentado. Tal como o Quênia, o nosso país irmão, com quem temos relações históricas, estamos comprometidos com o desbloqueio de oportunidades em setores estruturantes, com destaque para a agricultura e a agroindústria, tecnologias de informação e comunicação, energias renováveis e transição energética, indústria transformadora, economia criativa e serviços, mobilidade sustentável, turismo e economia azul. No setor agrícola, Moçambique oferece uma das maiores reservas de terra arável em África, com mais de 36 milhões de hectares, dos quais apenas cerca de 15% estão atualmente explorados, criando oportunidades únicas para o desenvolvimento de cadeia de valor agroindustriais, em complementaridade com a experiência do Quênia em inovação agrícola e acesso do mercado. Nas tecnologias de informação e comunicação, reconhecemos o Quênia como uma referência continental, com quem temos muito a aprender, particularmente no domínio da inovação digital e nos serviços financeiros móveis. Moçambique está a acelerar a sua transformação digital, criando espaço para parcerias estratégicas em inclusão financeira digital, plataformas tecnológicas, governo eletrônico e ecossistemas de inovação. Por isso, pela primeira vez, criamos o Ministério de Comunicação e Transformação Digital para responder a esta dinâmica. No domínio das energias renováveis, os nossos países, Quênia e Moçambique, partilham uma visão comum de transição energética. Moçambique possui um conjunto de ativos estratégicos do setor energético que posicionam ser o hub energético da África Austral, nomeadamente um potencial hidrelétrico superior a 12.000 megawatts, com destaque para a barragem de Caorabassa e o projeto da central elétrica de Mpandancua. Vastos recursos solares e eólicos para a geração de energia, mais de 180 trilhões de pés cúbicos de reservas de gás natural como energia de transição, colocando o país entre os maiores detentores de gás do mundo. Neste momento, estamos com grandes investimentos de 4 projetos, 2 a serem liderados pela Eni, a italiana, com investimentos de cerca de 15 bilhões de dólares. O terceiro projeto, que é liderado pela Total, francesa, cerca de 15 bilhões de dólares. E o último projeto, que é liderado pela Exxon, de cerca de 20 bilhões de dólares. Estamos a falar nos próximos anos de investimento de cerca de 50 a 60 bilhões de dólares em Moçambique, no setor de gás. Por isso, um dos maiores depósitos mundiais de grafite está em Moçambique, essencial para baterias e mobilidade elétrica para o futuro da energia no mundo. Este posicionamento permite-nos não apenas garantir segurança energética, mas também apoiar o desenvolvimento de novas indústrias, incluindo a mobilidade elétrica e a produção industrial de baixo carbono. Nos transportes e logística, Moçambique possui uma posição geoestratégica privilegiada, à semelhança dos nossos irmãos do Quênia, com 3 corredores logísticos estruturantes: corredor do Maputo, no sul, corredor da Beira, no centro, e corredor de Nacala, que liga o hinterland africano ao Oceano Índico. Neste aspecto, pretendemos consolidar a criação de zonas econômicas especiais, como estão a fazer os nossos irmãos no Quênia, e corredores de desenvolvimento que ofereçam condições competitivas para investimento com acesso direto a mercados regionais. Na indústria e no setor têxtil, identificamos oportunidades concretas de cooperação para o desenvolvimento de cadeia de valor regionais, aproveitando o acesso preferencial a mercados internacionais e o potencial de industrialização leve. No turismo e economia azul, Moçambique pretende transformar o seu potencial turístico de 2.700 quilómetros de linha costeira e ilhas paradisíacas em riqueza sustentável. Há oportunidades em hotelaria, marinhas, conservação, transporte marítimo e turismo de natureza. Na economia criativa, a África começa a afirmar-se globalmente como um espaço de inovação cultural, pois a música nasceu em África. Temos juventude, talento. Moçambique e Quênia podem juntos impulsionar indústrias culturais, digitais e criativas, com novos motores de crescimento econômico e geração de emprego. Por isso, minhas senhoras e meus senhores, o desbloqueio de oportunidades exige mais do que recursos. Exige confiança, exige coragem de reformas e visão estratégica. Moçambique está comprometido com a criação de um ambiente de investimento competitivo, junto aos nossos irmãos do Quênia, assente em reformas para a simplificação administrativa ao nível do setor público. Abrirmos os nossos países africanos, Moçambique e Quênia, para negócios. Maior previsibilidade regulatória. O investidor precisa de investir num país em que sabe que há previsibilidade. Fortalecimento institucional e promoção de parcerias público-privadas. Estamos a trabalhar para garantir que investir em Quênia, investir em Moçambique, seja sinônimo de segurança, previsibilidade e retorno sustentável. Por esta razão, criamos o Gabinete de Reformas e Projetos Estruturantes ao nível da Presidência, bem conhecido por Delivery Unit, como mecanismo de assegurar a monitoria e a coordenação deste processo. Excelências, minhas senhoras e meus senhores, desejamos que a relação entre Moçambique e o Quênia evolua para uma parceria econômica estruturante. Neste sentido, propomos avançar em 4 eixos concretos: integração logística entre África Oriental, onde o Quênia está bem posicionado, e África Austral, onde Moçambique está bem posicionado. Cooperação em inovação digital, fintechs e data centers ao nível dos nossos países. Desenvolvimento de cadeia agroindustriais e regionais e parcerias em energias renováveis e mobilidade elétrica. O eixo Maputo, a nossa capital moçambicana, e Nairobi, tal do Quênia, pode e deve tornar-se um corredor de inovação, comércio e investimento intra-africano. Este é o momento de construir pontes econômicas africanas, reduzindo dependências externas e fortalecendo o comércio intra-africano. O futuro econômico do mundo está em África. Não será determinado apenas pelos seus recursos, como disse muito bem aqui o meu irmão, o presidente Ruto, mas pela sua capacidade de transformar estes recursos em valor. O tempo de África é agora. Mas este momento exige uma mudança de abordagem. Não basta investir, é necessário investir com a África. Como disse aqui o meu irmão, o presidente Ruto, essa abordagem exige visão de longo prazo, confiança mútua entre nós, Quênia, Moçambique e os nossos investidores, o compromisso com a transformação estrutural. E o lema desta conferência desafia-nos a agir, a desbloquear tudo aquilo que complica fazer negócio em Moçambique e no Quênia, a investir e a transformar. Aos investidores aqui presentes, a nossa mensagem é clara. Quênia e Moçambique estão unidos, abertos ao investimento e preparados para parcerias. Moçambique e Quênia oferecem escala, oferecemos recursos naturais, oferecemos localização geográfica extraordinária e, acima de tudo, oferecemos liderança comprometida com estabilidade, com a paz, com segurança, reformas e crescimento inclusivo. Gostaria de concluir com uma convicção firme. A África não será apenas um dos principais centros de crescimento econômico do século XXI, será um dos principais motores. E dentro deste movimento, países como Quênia e Moçambique têm a responsabilidade histórica de liderar essa transformação com a convicção, coragem e determinação. Mais do que um convite aos nossos investidores para Quênia e Moçambique, deixamos um compromisso. O futuro econômico global será em parte construído em África e será construído por africanos e irmãos investidores que vêm de todas as partes do mundo. Como parceiros, mas sim também com liderança do setor público e setor privado, visão do setor público e setor privado e prioridade africana. Queria deixar claro que para nós o setor privado é que é o motor do desenvolvimento. O setor privado é que conduz o processo de desenvolvimento dos nossos países. E nós, neste momento, estamos para liderar os países, mas para facilitar fazer negócio, facilitar investimento e, sobretudo, facilitar fazer dinheiro tanto no Quênia como em Moçambique e no nosso continente africano. I want to close my speech to say that we are here to say, my brother, Mr. President Ruto, thanks so much to invite us to be in Nairobi to talk about business with private sector. Mozambique is Kenya, Kenya is Mozambique. We have a historical relation. We are brothers. That's why we want to develop our country with private sector. Private sector is the key to development Mozambique, development Africa, and we have young people, we have mineral resources, we have many potential in agriculture, in tourism, infrastructure, development corridors, economic special zone, industrial zone. That's why we are here to say that welcome to Kenya, welcome to Mozambique. Mozambique and Kenya is the right place to put your money and to do business and to do money. Thanks so much.
Another round of applause for both the heads of state for wonderful statements. May I request that we briefly take our seats? Kindly, let's take our seats. With your permission, Your Excellencies, we'll now transition to awarding of some certificates. And just to give us context of what the investments are all about and how that is, and the categories that are there, allow me to invite the Principal Secretary for Investment Promotion, Mr. Abubakar Hassan Abubakar, purely just to give us context before we progress to the award ceremony. Let's give him a clap.